Hello everybody and welcome back to Ashley Shamise. So before we get started in today's video, please go ahead and click on the subscription button below. I don't know if it's this way or this way, but please go ahead and click on it so that you can be notified in the future of videos that I upload. So in today's video, I am going to be talking about a topic that was requested per one of my awesome viewers here on the channel. And this topic, a term known as work mobbing. You may have heard it paired up with gang stalking. I have personally went through a work mobbing situation. It was honestly pure hell. It really was. It was as if I entered into a section of hell every single day when I worked this job. So I actually wrote down a timeline of events that I'm going to refer to in this video because there's so many things that I want to cover. And for those of you all who are out there and who may work in a similar type atmosphere, I want you to be armed. I want you to know what to do when you are placed in this horrible, sucky, terrible situation. From everything that I gained from that job and what I know now, oh my gosh, if I could go back in time and speak to myself, I tell you things would be a whole lot different. A whole lot different. Just to give you all a quick definition, the definition of work mobbing occurs when a group of coworkers engages in harassment and bullying tactics. Unfortunately, I suffered greatly by being bullied at work before. It's horrible. I don't wish it on anyone. I don't even wish it on my worst enemy. Being bullied at work, so much psychological distress, pain that manifests itself in the physical realm of your body through, be it nausea, headaches, can't sleep at night, heart racing, and so on and so forth. So really, work mobbing is it's a war of the mind. It's not a physical war. This is a war of the mind, and this war is caused by people who straight up are under the influence of Satan. That's the best way I can describe it. These people are demented. These people are sick that would participate in such a disgusting behavior towards someone merely because of jealousy, hatred, envy, their own personal issues manifesting in the form of different types of defense mechanisms that they have yet to deal with. So I'm going to go through my timeline here. And I'm going to try to make this video as short as possible to keep your attention. Man. All right, so I'm just going to walk you all through how I got this job in the beginning and how it ended. So I was working a warehouse job, and I'm going to tell you, I remember this like it was yesterday. It was on a Sunday evening. Before I headed into work at my warehouse job, I remember having this overwhelming urge to call out. Something was just like, call out, just call out. And a lot of times, you know, we push that urge into the back of our mind, or we say, no, let me just go ahead and push through it. It wasn't a long shift, so I was like, you know what, I can just push through it. Little did I know, me not calling out that day would change my life forever. And to think about it in those terms almost makes me emotional, because this was a really difficult experience for anybody to live through. But if I knew all I had to do was just simply call out that night, I would have done it in a heartbeat. So anyway, I worked my shift, and this guy that I went to high school with comes into the warehouse, and this was a warehouse retail type store. So he comes in. I hadn't seen him for years, and I started a little conversation with him. One thing led to another. I had just gotten my degree in business management and human resources, and I was looking for a job that would honor my experience because I really wanted to transition over into a new job role. So after we got to talking, he was like, oh, that's great. I work for this office and we do ... and we're looking for a new human resource employee. I'm trying to replace the one that I have now. You sound like you would be a great fit in the role. I emailed him my resume, and next thing you know, a couple days later, I got a phone call. Fast forward, got into the job. So this was the interview day, and I remember I walked in there when I first got into the job. Everyone seemed so professional, like it was really clean in there. Everybody was really quiet at their stations, typing in their little offices. It just seemed really, really cool. However, a red flag was slapping me in the face, and I overlooked the red flag. So you might be asking, well, what kind of red flag did you encounter? They had this like little break room where they would go eat lunch, and that's where I had the initial interview. Well, I had to go back in there to sign paperwork after I passed the initial interview. So when I went back in there, maybe about, I want to say it was like a day or so later, I remember the office vice president's office was positioned in that room behind two double doors. And I distinctively remember hearing MF this, SOB this, that son of a B that. And he had, his tone was very raised and elevated, and he seemed really angry talking to somebody. I should have took that as a forewarning that if he felt so comfortable to talk like that in front of someone he doesn't even know, like he didn't even respect a potentially good employee being recruited to the team. So for him to talk freely like that, I should have saw that as a way to get the hell out of there. But unfortunately, I didn't. I stayed. I started off as a customer service agent. The first day I started working, the staff was very heathenistic. They were loud. They were disorderly. They were unmannerly. They were unruly. They were disrespectful towards each other. That little front, that little stint that they pulled when I first got in there was all a facade. It was a mirage. I just remember feeling like I really made a really bad decision, a really poor choice, and a job switch. And I honestly wanted to go back. Now, I could have gone back to the job that I worked before, but the money was getting really good, and they had really good bonuses at this job. So I stayed, and I endured so many little microaggressions from some of the girls and little nasty, little snarky comments. I'm slender framed and I'm tall, and a lot of them were overweight and clearly had self-hate issues. I became the target because I wasn't going along with the mob. I wasn't going along with the bullying. Depending on where you work, a lot of people, unfortunately, in the workforce have these preconceived notions and ideas of how Black women should act, how Black women should carry themselves. A lot of them think just off the cuff, just because of our skin tone, we're ghetto, we're loud, we fit the stereotype of how the media portrays us. However, that's not always the case. And then when someone like me comes in, professional, educated, knows my worth, knows what I'm doing, they don't know what to do with that. A lot of people don't know what to do with that. And it does not have to do with color. A lot of people, Black, white, Mexican, Indian, Asian, Hispanic, Middle Eastern, whatever. A lot of people do not know what to do with that when they have been conditioned. So I did not get along with anybody, and because I was just really quiet and reserved, I did not entertain the messy chatter and just the messiness of it all. The messiness, talking about people, talking about their sex life openly. It was really disgusting. And the guy that I had met from high school who got me in there thought that I was the same person I was in high school when I got in there. And what I mean by that is, in high school, we used to cut up, laugh, everything was a joke. We didn't do anything like outlandish or crazy. We were just really goofy, and it was just like kind of like young and dumb, right? And I guess he thought I was still that type of person. Over 10 years later, he's still like in that. He's still in that, stuck in that level of development. He never came out of that level of development. However, me being who I am, there is no way I could have afforded to be the same person I was in high school versus who I am now. The girl in high school doesn't exist compared to the woman I have become. So I guess maybe perhaps because of his privileges, he could still climb up ladders. when you are Black, you cannot act like a clown and think you're going to climb ladders unless they're using you to be a workplace jester. So with that being said, it's funny that I mentioned that and used the word jester because I distinctively remember one of the girls put me on game and was like, girl, I did not know what you were going to be like before you got in here. The guy who got me hired in there, she was like, yeah, he was really talking you up and he had you sounding like you was going to come in here and be like everybody else, but you've proven us wrong. Like, we see you. Now, everybody in this office was not a fool. There were some people that were serious about the work, but the fools outweighed the ones that were serious. So anyway, I had found out I was basically to be hired in as a replacement for the other lady because the guy from high school thought I was going to be a fool. He thought I was going to act dumb. When I got into the job, they clearly could tell that I did not like it. Like, I was asked every day by the guy from high school. He was like, do you like it here? Do you like it here? Do you like it here? And of course, I lied. I said, yeah, I like it. It's fine. Yeah, I like it. Just getting used to it. It's different from what I'm used to. I like it. So with that being said, he had already been working on getting that lady out of the human resource department. I was supposed to be that replacement. But because I wasn't clowning and crooning and cooning, he was like, that ain't gonna work. So what they did was they held this secret HR management role position for this office. And I happened to overhear it. I did a whole lot of listening. I didn't do a bunch of talking. So that's why I was able to hear a whole bunch of stuff that went down. So they also discussed where they were posting this job for people to apply. So I did it on the low, and they did not know that I did it because I could tell they were shocked when I saw them the next morning. They were just kind of like, well, we're going to host interviews today for the human resource management role. So I was like, okay, bet, great. Mind you, I had associate's degree at that time in business management with accounting. There was another guy in there who also had a degree, but he had a bachelor's degree. And then there was another girl in there who did not have a degree. They ended up hiring the girl that did not have a degree. She hung out with them after work. She slept over their house and all that crazy stuff. So she ended up getting promoted. Let the crazy games begin. They created this pacifying position for me, but it was a dead end. So anyway, they ended up giving me this role where I would be a lead. So in this role as a lead, I would be hiring people overseas for our department. And it was going really, really well. They also gave me a pay increase, and I really, really enjoyed this role. One day, abruptly, the CEO of the company had a meeting and abruptly announced that he was dissolving our department effective immediately, and I had to go back to customer service. All right, so I'm going to break this off into a part 2. I'm going to break down the nasty, gritty, grimy, low down dirty stuff that happened to me at work in part 2. Let's go.